All right, all right, all right. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Tonight, we are going to have a conversation about a video that you actually shared with me, some guy. It was a
Yeah.
young lady, and she was talking about has men aura changed, or has it just women's standards has changed? So, um,
Want me
we'll
to
get
just
into it.
play the audio to the video? I can just play it through my mic.
Yeah, let's listen to the audio so we can get into it.
YouTube short.
There used to be a version of men that made women nervous. And not in a threatening kind of way, more so in a that man is put together and I don't know what to do with myself kind of way. And that version of men is gone. We're talking about Denzel Washington, Morris Chestnut. Smith in his prime. These men walked into a room and women's whole nervous system betrayed them. You really couldn't explain it and you couldn't prepare for it. And they were fully clothed and completely composed. And somehow they had the most overwhelming presence in every single space that they've entered. And that wasn't an accident. That was a man who knew exactly what he was doing. And now on the other spectrum, the default is a hoodie, athleisure, joggers, and slides. And a fade that hasn't been touched in 3 weeks. And that's fine and all. But there's a difference between a man who is relaxed and a man who simply stopped trying. One of them still has presence. The other one just has a situationship and a spot. It was never about being flashy. It was about the intention, the fitted shirt, the shoes that actually matched. The way he walked in like he already knew how the room was going to receive him. And let's be real, that is not arrogance. That is a man who respected himself enough to show up. And here's the kicker. When men stopped showing up, women stopped feeling the need to either. Because why be alluring for a room full of joggers? The standard dropped on one side and it collapsed on the other. We all fell together and called it casual. And women noticed. We just stopped saying it out loud. Anywho, bye for now.
Yeah. So she hold on. Yeah, she hit that out the park. And
Yeah.
if you want to follow her, her name is I am Desi Rich. She be spitting that hot fire. They said, but
Definitely spit it. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't completely agree with her. I listened to it a few times and she specified the aura being the appearance.
mhm.
And I do agree to a degree, but let me ask you, when you think about aura, is aura just an appearance? Is it just how you're dressed and what you have on and how your hair is cut or how a woman's hair is done and what she's wearing? Or is it just the intentionality? Like how you choose to show up for the world, not just how you dress, but how you carry yourself, how you speak, just everything completely. What's your take on that?
I think it's both. I think they go hand in hand. I don't think you can have one without the other. You know what I mean? I don't think you have aura. And if you do have that aura, you're gonna want to look good, outwardly. You know what I mean? Like if you feel good, you're gonna want to present good. You know what
For
I mean?
sure.
So I don't think you can have one without the other. So I think, yeah, like there's some women who just like, have something about them or whatever, but like to be that real it girl or, the woman that just like has something about her,
Hmm.
and you got to look the part too. You know what I mean? Like,
Me too.
so,
But do you think you got to be born with it? Because I think aura also is a confidence level. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it has to be in you. Because if you are it girl or a guy who of sub of a sub of a certain standard, when you walk in a room, regardless of what you have on, you just own that room. People can just feel your presence because it's about how you just carry yourself as an individual. But like I said, I do agree with her as far as appearance because I do think that she mentioned we all turned it into a casual thing now. So everybody is so casual. So women stop showing up too. She's 100% right because she made a comment. Why spend this much time, with my clothes, my makeup, my hair, all the things, only to come into a room full of men with basketball shorts, sneakers, flip flops, and joggers.
yeah.
So yeah, like you said, they go hand in hand. But I think it's just that the intentionality is just not there anymore either. I think everybody is lax. This culture is very lax.
I think, like she used the example of the dudes, and like we grew up in that era where, those dudes were like sort of the standard, you know what I mean? And like
Absolutely.
we try to be like them and ascribe to that, you know what I mean? And be smooth like he was. And like I do think it's something that can be learned. Just think about it, like when Will Smith wasn't that way till he, like she said, Will Smith in his prime, because earlier Will Smith was like a goofy hip hop
Absolutely.
hip
Yep.
hop dude
Yep.
who grew
Yeah.
into something else as he matured, you know what I mean? Had a, for lack of a better term, glow up. So yeah, I think it is something that's learned a confidence level that has to, let's say, be within yourself or whatnot. But yeah, I agree. Like, yeah, you could, it's something that needs to be learned. But, I think like, yeah, those, like I said, like, and there's not even a standard dude nowadays, even celebrity wise, because she used all the celebrities as a,
Right.
as an example who would fit that mold as like a Morris Chestnut or Will in his prime. There's dudes that like women want, but like you can't really be like Chris Brown fit that. You know what I mean? You can't
Exactly.
really be like the baby fits that. Like a lot of women think the baby look good, but you can't be like, oh, the baby fits that. You can't be like a lot of these cats fit that. A lot of these stars, maybe like a Michael B. Jordan or something like that, but that like,
True.
but like
True.
that's about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's like you just don't see those type of dudes no more.
You don't. And I just think that like I said, I think it's just because we come into a culture where we are super lax, and I think that because the confidence is not there either. You have a lot of people who pretend like they have this confidence, right? But when they're around certain people, you can see them fold. So
Mhm.
again, I think, she did touch on a really, really good point, but I think it's just more to it when it comes to that aura. But I know she was touching on her main thing was like appearance because like you said, we grew up in that era. You dress good, you want your sneakers to match your outfit, the color coordination, men showed up and then women was dressed to the T too. And so now it's just kind of like women, and I think me and you touched on this before. I think for women, we kind of dress for each other. Women
Mhm.
now, I don't think we're necessarily just showing up for men because I don't think men really paying attention that much if we're just dressed really nice. I don't think they understand the time we put into doing the hair, the makeup, the nails, all the things, the lashes, the different things. We doing that because other women are watching us harder than men. So when it comes to that, if you're a woman that you dress really good, when I walk into a room, I do feel like I own the room. Whether I have on a $30 outfit or a $300 outfit, it doesn't matter to me because I'ma still look nice. My intention is when I walk out that door, I'm a representation of myself. I'm a representation of who I am. So it doesn't really matter, but that's something that's in me. It's been in me. It's been instilled in me since I was a kid. So I do think that that's a developmental thing. If it's not in you, you do have to develop it too. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. It was like, I don't know. I feel like something got lost. I can't really like say what exactly got lost, but I just feel like, you know, we lost that. Like some of it, just like you said, it has to be in you. You gotta like wanna look good. You gotta wanna be that dude. You gotta wanna be, you know, that person. Like I was saying earlier, like we or when we talked about this before, like you know I was like, I was young in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like I was,
Mhm.
a child in the 90s. But think about like all my uncles and my uncles and my father and all that were either brought up in the 60s or the 70s. And, and they taught me that old school game, about
Mhm.
how, hey,
Mhm.
you gotta be dressed nice. Your car gotta be nice. You gotta be that dude that's so dope that the woman want to get on your team. Like you ain't gotta lie to her. You ain't gotta do nothing.
Right.
You just that smooth. And that was always put on us. And like, you know, we always had that one or a couple uncles that always had that dope ass Cadillac. You know what I mean? Like
You
always
did. You
had that fly
did.
ass car, fly ass
Mhm.
Lincoln. Even your grandma had a fly car, nigga. Like we came from that era,
Everybody.
you know. You know, like yeah,
That's
grandma
true.
drove those big ass Lincolns, and like you know that sort of rubbed off on us, and like that went away, and so and I think in a way it's good, you know, like to not like get so caught up on materials, but like on some level, when we stopped putting so much on like being materialistic, we lost something. Like
Yeah.
you know, like hey, but I still should look good. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm not gonna have on no expensive ass jeans, but I can still look good. If I'm gonna buy some Amazon jeans, some Walmart jeans, I should at least look good. You know what I mean? Like or you know, if I can if you gonna get a button up from Target, at least, you know, like I said, get some shoes that match and make you an outfit out of it. It's
Exactly.
like dudes don't know how to do that no more. You know what I mean? So it's
Exactly.
like, you know, we talked about it. Like, remember, even when we were casual dudes, like, were intentional, you know, like, and this was dudes of all race. Think about like Jersey Shore. Remember how like these dudes who wear t-shirts all the time, but they go get their t-shirts fitted. So
Fit
it
it.
looked good
Exactly.
because they worked out, you know, they worked out all the
And they
time. They
want to
wanted to
show it.
sit to look right.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and like, that was intentionality and it worked out because, you know, like whatever, you know, however you feel about those dudes, they were dressed to the nines all the time. They understood that. Like that was part of it. That was part of being, you know, like they had game on some level. You know what I mean? Like you might have thought they were douchebags or something, but they had game. You know what I
They
mean?
did.
And like that got lost. And I still think we crave it. You know what I mean? I still think women would prefer if men were intentional. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I
And
think
men
also
don't
it was social
understand it.
media. They don't. It was social media that changed it. That's what changed it. You got to think. Yeah, we had like MySpace when we were younger, but MySpace was just a fun place to be. You put your little music, you have your little art in the background, you put some pictures. It wasn't really a hookup thing. It wasn't really a influencer thing. It was just more so, you know, you conversating with people, whatever, from school, whatever. Then the Facebooks, the Instagrams, the Twitters, the TikToks. Now you have people who setting this standard and they're saying, well, the guys, you need to wear $600 Amiri jeans, or you need to wear Gucci sneakers, or you need to wear Cartier frames. So then you have people that's either, you know, killing themselves trying to look like this, but don't have a dollar to their name because they spent their whole check doing that because this is what social media is portraying, opposed to just being authentic. And then you have the women, you know, women don't know how to be beautiful naturally, right? It was a time where we get blowouts and just wear our natural straight hair. Now women want to wear the weaves. You have to do you know, you want to get your boobs. You want your boobs done. You want your body done. You're supposed to be this size and you have to look like this. You have to dress like this to be attractive. So I think it was social media. That's when it changed. I know the question was like, when did it change? We don't know when we got lost. Where did it? It was when social media became a thing. For me, I believe that's when it happened because everybody lost their identity and everybody just wanted to follow a trend. Yep.
You know, or
Yep.
people didn't know how to take something and make it of their own,
Exactly.
or just
Exactly.
like, you know, and I sort of get it. You know, there's a whole lot into it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I get
Mm-hmm.
why people don't want to be their own. You know, like a little bit of a side topic because everything's recorded now because
That's
of
true.
social media, and so it's like you're doing everything in public to where like if you tried a new hairstyle or you tried a new something that didn't work out, only the people around you were gonna see it. But now it's like, oh, if you don't like the hairstyle, you're gonna get 1,000 pictures taken of you or something get happens in the club that's embarrassing. Somebody's gonna record it and
Right.
then post it because everybody's trying to be viral and shit like that. So
Yes.
I think it
Yes.
staggers. I think it's you know, like not staggers, but I think it you know, it takes away from people wanting to try new things or taking risks or something like that because it's like it's gonna last forever. It's gonna happen in front of a bunch of people. So I think that does really definitely have an effect on it. You know what I mean? And then you know, you got all these people and like you're listening to them because they're influencers got a bunch of followers, but nobody's ever thinking like, why am I listening to this person? Who are they to like tell
Mm-hmm.
me
Mm-hmm.
who it is? It's like you said, and then all end up doing the same thing, and then nobody's different. You know, like that's part of the reason why my wife liked me. You know, when I was, you know, or like the women who I did, you know, who I dated, like because you know I was different. I was wearing Star Wars shirts before the shit was cool. You know what I mean? Like I really like Star Wars when I was little, and I just wore
Right.
it. People made fun, like for reference, anybody younger listening, like in the '90s, homie, you got made fun of for being in the Star Wars.
Absolutely.
It was
And
amazing.
that's hot.
You got forward. You got made fun of for being in the Marvel. You got made fun of for reading comic books, and people used to get made fun of for collecting Pokemon cards, same ones that y'all buying for all this money. And so,
Exactly.
like, I endured that, but then, like, when I when I got out of high school, I was just like, man, like, I realized in the point, like, man, none of those people's opinions mean nothing. And then now they don't mean anything. They done nothing to me. I'm still me. You know what I mean? So I I just was me, and I found my own style. I took like, I mixed things, because, if you're gonna be honest, like everybody she talked about in that video, everybody she talked about in that video was black. We were the trendsetters, so like
Absolutely.
we knew how to be original. We knew like style was just I don't know, like ingrained. I don't say ingrained. It was ingrained in us. You know what I mean? So I took that and I made my own little path, and it made me like unique. Like yes, a lot of women weren't gonna like me. A lot of people were gonna think I was weird, but I didn't care. I was who I was. The people who loved me, and that's all that mattered. So
That's it.
you learn that level of confidence. You know what I mean? And to realize like, hey man, a lot of these people's opinions and shit, it can never hurt me. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
so I think a lot of people don't go through that, or like I said, or the price of going through that is much higher
It
than
definitely is.
than it was when I was younger. You know what I mean? So they're not learning. So we all stay in this permanent state of like childhood. You know what I mean? Because when you look at dudes right now, not only do they not have any like a God damn it, I went to public. Yeah, aura. Sorry, I went to public school, y'all. Damn public school. Not only they got no aura, they're like children, and it's like all of them. Like you talk to some of these things, like damn, all y'all come off like teenagers. It's like dudes in their 40s and dudes in their 20s come off like the
Absolutely.
same goddamn age, and it's like nobody grows. You know what I mean? Nobody changes. Nobody. You get on the internet and you got, like I said, 40-year-old dudes making red pill content, talking about women only want to date dudes with swag. And like I told him, dudes, like, man, you too old to be saying that, bro. He was like my age. He was like, you too old to be talking about women only want to date niggas with swag. Like, what 50-year-old woman dating a dude with swag because of his swag? Shut up.
Right.
But you got 50-year-old dudes saying it and 20-year-old dudes saying it. And you can even take it back a little further when sneaker culture was in there. Like me and Trey talked about this. I was like, man, you had 16-year-olds and 30-year-olds standing in line to get Jordans. But when I was younger, a 16-year-old and a 30-year-old dressed totally different.
Totally different. But I think people
Like,
are chasing that youth.
They said totally different slang, everything. And it was just like, it was different. I was like, I think that's part of it too, because like how I use that example of Will Smith, he grew up. He was the hip hop dude, whatever. And then he became a movie star and he walked into that role. He became the dude in Hollywood. And he owned that shit. Like,
He
hey,
owned
Will
it,
Smith was
exactly.
the dude. And like, I'm motherfucking Will Smith. And he walked in the room like he was Will Smith, like she said. And Morris Chestnut was the same way. Blair Underwood, like they were that dude. You can bring up Babyface, people like Babyface, R&B artists like that. You know what I mean? Even everybody. It's just like, just had swag, homie. And it's like,
Yeah,
now
for sure.
niggas dress like bums,
And they call it fashion.
And it was like, and so like, I think something got lost in there. Like, like I said, I believe a lot of things are factual to it, but it's not right. You know what I mean? And it's just like, like I said, a lot of these young dudes, y'all need to pick that up, man. Y'all need to re-gear how you think about this stuff, because like we said earlier, y'all ain't got no aura because y'all are in a dating game right now and it seems like y'all don't even understand the game. And then like, it's like playing basketball, not understanding the rules of basketball and wondering why you're not winning games. And then you get mad at somebody who try to coach you into playing basketball and you just, oh man, And it's like you talk to a lot of these young dudes, and like I said, like they don't even want to put in the effort. And it's like, what for? What for? It's like, man, you should put in effort. You should want to be that dude because you want to be that dude, homie. Like,
Sure.
let's X the women out of it, homie. You just want to wear a jogger every day? No, you don't want to be like, hey, let me put on these fly ass kicks, I'm putting these nice jeans. You know, if you're just gonna be casual, let me get a shirt that match my shirt, my shoes. Let me get a hat. You know, like I said, we cocked our brim to the left, homie,
Right.
and you know, fade, you know, like fade done, shaved up, you know, like and you just don't want to look good, you know, like and just like I said, like because people notice it. It's like you don't want to do that. You don't want to break some hearts, homie. You don't want to let these people know. Like we used to do that. Like I want to let these people know that hey man, I'm that dude. You know what I mean? Like that ain't in you.
I agree. But let me tell you, it's not just the young dudes, it's the older ones too. So the older
Mm-hmm.
ones don't dress like nothing either. And I'm speaking from a perspective of me date guys 40 plus. I have to tell them sometimes, like, the attire you should wear is this, just because I may have met you and you had on a certain attire. And, I have conversations with people about everything. So, if you tell me that, oh yeah, I like joggers and white t-shirts, or I like, V-necks and some jeans all the time. Well, that's appropriate for certain settings, but certain settings is just not appropriate. So even with the older guys, and that's why I had made a comment and I said that I think a lot of men are chasing their youth and women are too. Here in Atlanta, I mean, I'm sure you see it in California as well, and I'm sure it's everywhere, right? Women 50 years old getting BBLs. And it's kind of like, what's happening here? Um, Grandmothers don't look like grandmothers. They look like their kids. They're partying with their kids. They're dressing like 20. And I know, I'm not trying to put an age on how you dress, but I think it comes with maturity, right? So you shouldn't be 50 years old hanging out with your 35-year-old daughter or 33-year-old daughter, and you got on the same outfit as she do. But again, society promotes that, right? I'm a bad mama, and you can't believe that this is my daughter. And then you got the men that looking like their sons, their teenage or young adult sons, and you're 50 years old, but you're wearing skinny jeans that you can barely move in with chains on your. It's just, whew, I don't
Like I
know.
said, I think social media keeps us in there because like I do think it is social media. I do
It
think
is
it
for
plays
sure.
a big part in this new digital age because there's no self-reflection. There's no time to thought. It's just keeping you in a state of just here's what's the next thing, chasing the next thing, and there's no like moment to sit there and just be with yourself. You know what I mean? And then now, just like you said, when you brought up MySpace, like back in the day, the internet used to be a place we went to. Like somebody said, like you had to go to a computer that was stuck in this location. You couldn't move it to get on MySpace. You couldn't just there was no smartphones. You couldn't just be on MySpace everywhere like you can do with Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and just
Hmm.
be scrolling through that shit all the time. And so you went to MySpace and then you got off of it and then you were in the real world. You spend a majority of your time in the real world. You spend a majority of time with yourself, and you naturally gonna self-reflect on things. So I think like without self-reflection, you can't grow and you don't
That's true.
mature.
Hmm.
So you got a lot of dudes like people like that who are getting, like, because if the stuff get put in your face, you're gonna eventually accept it, and you don't
Absolutely.
even know you accept it. Like me and Trey talked about it. Like when I used to watch Kevin Samuels came out and I watched a lot of his content. I was like,
Hmm.
I'm sitting here making his arguments. That shit don't even apply to me. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here in a happy marriage and shit. It's just like, what am I sitting here saying this shit for? But I unwittingly
Hmm.
fucking bought into it because it was being put in my face every
Okay,
day,
put it in
and
your
I
face for
was
sure.
doing it. So that's why, like, I logged out of all my social media. I don't get on them
Hmm.
no more. I'm like, you inviting these people, and like they thought process and all that is affecting your thought process. When it's just like I need to be alone with me, and I'm like, well, what did I think? You know what I
Exactly.
mean? What do I want? And
Hmm.
so, I think a lot of it, I think it plays a big part in why we're at where we're at with a lot of this stuff. And to where,
That
like
is
I
true.
said, you got women who are just not mature.
That's true.
And then, because that's all she was talking about. Like all Morris Chestnut and all them words, just they were dudes who were young, but mature for their age.
That's it.
You know?
They cared about their appearance. And I know also, so for instance, my cousin who's been on the podcast before with us, he's a very casual dude, right? So he's not really an athletic dude. He doesn't really, I mean, he'll put something on, but that's not his style. But then what I noticed here in Atlanta, men who dress like that, and he's okay with it because he's his own person and he's confident in who he is. But men who dress like that, women then look at you like you're lame. So it's the Morris, he dressed like the Morris Chestnuts back in the day. He dressed like he go on dates, he wear a nice little V-neck, a nice little blazer, some nice jeans, some Kenneth Cole. It don't have to be Jordans. He wears some nice, because it depends on where he's going. But then women will look at a man like that and be like, oh, he's lame. Like he's corny, he's a cornball because he don't got on skinny jeans. So it's also the ones that are still showing up like that and they do carry that aura about themselves. But then you have to think about what caliber of woman is being the judge of this man, because that's not lame. That's a man who actually take care of himself. He making sure his lineup stay crisp. He's making sure he smells good. His clothes are ironed. He didn't just pull them out the dryer and threw them on real quick to come meet you. He's very intentional about how he show up for you for the day. But I mean, I've heard some of his stories, and some women like, oh, why you dressed like that? I ain't like, what am I dressing like?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, something's been lost to where women don't appreciate that shit. Yeah. It's like,
because the scope has been lowered. She said it. The women have lowered their standards because going along to what society say. So you want a man with skinny jeans and some joggers and some sneakers, and you going to a 4-star restaurant. That's why I'm so happy they did start making dress codes for certain restaurants, because I'm not gonna lie, I get tired of seeing it. I don't want to go somewhere where you're gonna spend about $200 or $300 on dinner, and I'm watching somebody walk past me with some sneakers and some joggers on and a white t-shirt.
It used to be not appropriate, like even for even back in the club, like it was like, nah, there was a dress code, homie. And then going to certain restaurants, it was just, yeah, like there was good, like high end restaurants. They everywhere in LA. You know what I mean? They everywhere in Cali. And like, you don't think of walking up in there in some jeans or something like that. Like, no, that's not acceptable. Like, that's embarrassing. And it was like, but now, like you said, now I just like that. Like, I think the price we paid to be casual was just too much. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, y'all, I just think, it's a lack of maturity. It's a lack of everything. Like, we've lost a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like, on a little bit of a tangent, but like I saw a video and like some woman, she was talking about how we've lost the ability to repair, like relationships with friendships. Like we cut each other off over stupid stuff to where you should just be repairing it. We've lost the ability to do that. You know what I mean? And so we've lost a lot of things. And I just think that factors right back into maturity in a lot of things. You know what I mean? Because it's like, who don't repair relationships? Children.
Because they don't know how, right?
Yeah. Who get mad over some words or some dumb shit? Children. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, look, damn. I'm like, sometimes I'm just not sure nowadays if I'm dealing with somebody who thinks like a fucking adult. And a lot of times you're not. And you can tell by the way we dress. And I'm somebody wearing a Marvel shirt right now. You know what I mean? But like, I'm just recording, but nah, like I know how to dress. Right. I do it in my work uniform, everything. Like, nah, like I make sure I'm that dude. I make sure I walk around with my head up. I stand tall. I'm 6 feet. I walk in, like if I'm walking around my job, I stand tall. Like, hey, that is part of it. Is as a black man, I gotta have that presence. Sure. Hey, I'm not somebody to be kind of messed with. You know what I mean? We talked about that before, though. But
right,
like I'm not no tough guy, but like, hey, man, but it's like even the stuff they allow us to wear. Like I wear it to the best of what I could wear. You know what I mean? Like because they let us dress down now because we're not really seen by the public for what I do, and so like I'm allowed to wear like certain type of hats and stuff like that. Right. I never go in with it like like when we wear like turtlenecks, but polo shirts, you know,
Polos,
the
yeah.
company logos, and we're out to wear nice jeans and nice sneakers and stuff now. We used to be business casual, but they let us dress down. I'm like, I don't
Hmm.
go in there with dirty sneakers on and dirty jeans, and you know, my polo is nice. I wear a thermal
Exactly.
under it because it get cold. I match my thermal with my shoes sometimes. I match it
Hmm.
with my hat. It's like things that we do. It's like they're gone. Like I remember, and this dude's only a little bit older than me. Like because I'm ultimately a Dodger fan, but like black people get this, like because hip hop culture and hip hop sort of fashion, especially in the '90s, was sportswear. So we used to wear whatever, like any type of sportswear, we wore it. You know what I mean? So like even if you weren't a fan of the team, that's why you saw like old rappers, like would just be wearing everything. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You can go back and find videos of Jay-Z with, you know, Arizona Cardinals jerseys on, New Jersey Nets, New York Knicks, all that, like that just used to be. And I remember like, I had like some shoes, I wore my little polo shirt and had my thermal, and was wearing a Cincinnati Reds hat. I had it matched with my outfit, my shoes.
Hmm.
One of my coworkers was like, "Oh man, nah, don't do that. I know what you're doing, but don't do that." I'm like, "Nah, man, that's the hip hop in me. That's what we do. We
Right.
we put our outfits together, homie." And I'm aware, like, yeah, I'm a Dodger fan, but I'm wear whatever, like, I'm wear whatever MLB hat I want to wear. If it
Hmm.
match my outfit. I'm sorry, like, if I, like that's what I do. Like that's
That's
what we
what we
always
do.
do.
Like,
Like
but you think people still do that now too? Yeah.
but it was like prevalent, like
It
back
was
then.
prevalent. Absolutely.
Yeah, but like even just that's being intentional with how I wear, and
Hmm.
like I said, like how I pick my shoes and stuff like that. I'm just like, yeah, dude, like, and it's just like yeah, that's gotten lost. You know what I mean? Like that used to be black men though. I
Hmm.
still think you still see it with black men, but I was like, they used to be like most of us. We
Yeah,
were the
they
fly.
did.
We were always the flyest dudes.
Absolutely.
We were always that. Like black people in America always led fashion. And I'm like, and you gonna be dusty? Like, no, you can't be. But now you just see it. You see niggas walking around looking like, damn nigga, is this nigga homeless?
Exactly.
Like, like in,
Exactly. I'm so tired of seeing it. It's crazy.
dudes don't like, we used to get like, there was sayings, like that just don't get said no more. There's no replacement saying for it. Like, remember, like, hey, like, older dude be like, hey, young man, let me drop some good game on. And that's just what he was telling. Hey, let me give you some information that's gonna upgrade you. Let me help
Hmm.
you out. That's what that meant, And we used to even listen to the women. It was like one of my homegirls who told me I should have a cologne collection.
Mm.
That was the one who put me up on game on that when I was younger. And she was just like, yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, let's get a couple colognes. I was like, nah, she's like, certain things shouldn't be worn during certain seasons. And she was like, and you should really get like really expensive colognes. They smell better. I'm like, no. And then like, yeah. And then you go and you actually start smelling it. So it's like, oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, this is way better. Yeah, for sure.
And like, she's like, yeah, put that. She's like, yeah, just go every couple months, buy you a bottle, and then like, yeah, like, and yeah, look that up. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like, she right. Like, certain colognes are made for certain seasons, and certain ones,
Absolutely.
and like, we used to like I said, listen to the women like that. And that was something, like I said, I got taught in my early 20s, and like stuff like that about buying lotions. Black people, we wear lotion anyway because we get ashy and they get seen. White people don't do it, but like, she's like, yeah, buying lotions that don't conflict with the cologne you wear. That's like she was like, do that. Like, in fact, she was like, when you go out to the club or something like that, don't use a lotion that have a smell on it. Use that neutral one that
Use a
don't.
neutral one. Hmm.
And like, she put me, like I said, my homegirl put me up on game about a lot of stuff. And that was just
Hmm.
like being intentional. Another thing we lost too with club culture is like getting, like, me and my wife were talking about it. Like, she's like, oh, remember when like, cause, well, we didn't club when we were together, but we
Hmm.
both used to club when we were younger. She's like, you remember like getting ready for the club, like you and your crew set, hey man, yeah, we meet here, we doing this, hey, what time we meet, and,
Hmm.
okay, yeah. So then you get ready, you hop out the shower, you got the music playing, you got your little, what they call it, remember Napster or something after Napster, Morpheus or whatever you playing, your downloaded music.
Whatever you, yeah.
And you playing it loud and you getting dressed and you got your button up shirt, you making sure you look good, you doing your tie, like I say, you doing your cologne, you make sure you showered up, like earlier that day, like I said, like you were, like if it was a Friday, I was probably at the barber shop making sure, like she said, the fade looking good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be 100%, I used to get my eyebrows done. I didn't get them thinned out and shit like that, but like I used to get my, there's a place I used to go to get my eyebrows done. I was like, what that was self-care. And that was just what we did back then. And that got lost with that because it was just like that made you feel good. Like homie, like I said, like you put your stuff on, you tie your tie up, you look at yourself in the mirror, you felt like $1 million, you smelled like $1 million.
You did.
You're like, hey, we gonna go tear the club up. You know what I mean? Like it.
For sure.
Me and my crew, like we would make sure we all fly. And
that was another thing too. Everybody in the group, you want to make sure everybody is not coordinated, but everybody fly. You'll see some groups where you have some that's dressed like, okay, he's nice, and then you got the stragglers right here, and it's like, what happened here? What's going on? Even with the ladies, you have some that's dressed really nice, and you could be sexy without being provocative, and then you have some that just look like they just threw on anything, and it's like, what is happening here? But for me and my friend group, I don't play that. You have to be, this is the place we're going to. This is the type of attire. If it's not for you, just sit this one out because
Yeah, we realized that you didn't have to do everything with everybody. There were some dudes who were like, this homeboys I have, like, I love these dudes, but like, he ain't the fly, I'm gonna get fly at the club type. He gonna be in the same, he gonna be in the club looking dusty because that's just not, well, I don't like wearing none of that. Man, stay home then. Or, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we can, whatever else, like, we can hang out some other time, but like, yeah, dude, and that was just like, that was like intentional. We were with everything, like, and I mean, just to like, because I remember there was this club at this casino we used to go to out here, and like, we would, it was free before 9, but nobody would ever be there. We would go there and get our stamp. We would just be in the parking lot. We'd go chill for like an hour and a half pregame. We just chill, and we would walk back, big old line, and just walk past the line. I remember one time we just walked past the line, me and my crew, we just, we go in, and even some girls like, hey man, who are they? You know what I mean? Because it's just like, fly as fuck. And that was the era. Remember, like, wearing your stunner glasses at night? That was when that was just like, you dressed to the 9, you wore your sunglasses in the club, you know what I mean? And like, we just, like I said, we went up in there looking like $1 million, felt like $1 million. We had women approaching us, stuff like that, but it was just, like I said, like the intentionality, that was part of it. It was how you present yourself. You can't, like, and that's just been lost. I mean, like, these dudes don't care. They don't know. You try to teach it to them, like, nah, man, that shit matter. How you smell, everything. I'm like, it's a science to it. I was like, a woman's sense of smell is better than a man's on average. So if you stink, you really stink to her.
So exactly.
Yeah, but if you smell good, you really smell good. And dudes don't get that. I'm like, that's what it's about, homie. Like, that's how you set the tone. If you walk up with the right cologne and she smell you, that's how you set the tone. You looking good, you set the tone. It's right there. Yeah. She gonna like, oh yeah. Like.
Exactly.
Like, it's the whole thing. Like, dudes just don't get that shit. They just wanna. It's about what you say, knowing how to crack a joke. Just be dumb, because everybody like, man, pickup lines. Like, I tell them pickup lines, I would say, like, man, that shit cheesy. I'm like, damn, you dummy. Like, it's supposed to be cheesy. You're supposed to walk up to her, say something cheesy to break the ice. I mean, it's not supposed to be serious. Like, like those dumb pickup lines. Like, oh, you like, let's just say like a really dumb one. Like, oh, like, I know you're not Jamaican, but you're making me crazy. Like, no, nobody seriously says that. She's like, I thought I was Jamaican because I'm Jamaican and crazy. Like nobody thought that.
But it was the way to break the ice. It was a good icebreaker.
Yeah.
And then you have the one that didn't bite on it, and you just leave her alone because she's just in the bathroom.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
told him, like, hey, I used to say this one, like I walk up to a girl and like, I'd be like, I introduce myself and put my hand up like, hey, my name is Chris, and shake my hand like, and you, and then before she talk, I'm like, you my destiny, like, hey, like just a little stupid joke.
No, yeah. Yeah.
Like, and they be like, man, this, like it worked, homie. I'm like, it's not supposed to be like, yeah, because I'm not taking myself serious when I say it.
Exactly.
Like I'm like, those who know, but I'm like, that's the problem is y'all don't even know how to flirt nowadays.
That's true.
Like like y'all just because it was a young girl, like, oh, if a guy said to me, I'm gonna be, oh, he dumb, walk away. I'm like, see, you don't even know how to flirt. Hold on, hey, it said we stop recording.
And what happened? What happened?
Yeah, let's yeah, it said you start recording.
Is that I stopped or started?
It said you stop recording, stopped on you.
You think it? Oh, you think it's because my phone had rung? I put it on
Probably.
not disturb. I put it on do not disturb because I saw it run, but I ignored it.
I don't
Did it save
I'm
it?
not even getting it back. It's gonna save that original part,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's not gonna save anything else. So we might have to let me stop recording this.